Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Alex Light with Sparky3. Hopefully you are having a phenomenal day, whatever day you are coming across this podcast episode of Lighthearted Gamers. I just got two quick things for you that I wanted to break down in this little intro clip right here. Number one, in this episode, we do briefly talk about this whole Blue Box Game Studios abandoned conspiracy theory that it's actually Kojima and a new Silent Hill. We did touch on it. We didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but at the information that we had at the time, the reveal was supposed to be on the 22nd, which is the day this episode comes out. They have pushed it back. It is now the 25th this Friday. We will find out if abandoned, or if it's Silent Hill. So that's the first thing I did want to clarify. The second thing, in this video, you will see a very noticeable video to audio delay with my camera shot alone. We were testing out a new camera we just got recently. Got to work out some kinks. That's on us. It's no big deal. Hopefully you just get a laugh out of it like we did. Mistakes happen. Let's go. Keep it moving. But that's all. So hopefully you do enjoy this episode. This episode was a lot of fun to record with who we had in here in studio. With that, let me throw up my apologies for our tech problems. And here's the intro clip. Please enjoy the episode. Again, apologies for the camera issues. Hopefully you can just turn it on in the background and just go about your day. Preview clip. Here we go. Put in the clip now. Editor Alex, preview clip right now, please. Thank you.
I'd recommend it to anybody that hasn't played it yet. Yes,
get it.
Absolutely play the damn game.
Okay. Well, with the remaster coming out, I may finally check it out, and I'll let you know how I like it.
You should. You won't.
I wouldn't trust his statement.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Come on.
We know you, Ellie.
Come on.
You've been sitting on that fucking... How many years has it been? 8?
Okay, well, for majority of that, it has not been 8 years since you've given me that, first off. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into Lighthearted Gamers, episode 46. Hopefully you are having an absolutely incredible day, whatever day you are listening or perhaps watching this podcast over at our YouTube channel, Sparky3. I'm your host, Alex Light. Make sure to give us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We'd greatly appreciate that. So for this episode, E3 has come to a close. We're here to give a full E3 kind of afterthought, on how we're feeling towards things. Maybe we're not riding the high anymore, and give our full thoughts on it. And here, as always, to give his thoughts on everything that we have here to talk about. My co-host here at this show and over at Animan Plus, we got Zach here in studio. Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Ready for the last one.
Yeah, last
for
one.
The week.
Yep. After doing 4 this week, so yeah, I feel you. And then also here in studio, we have not one, but we have 2 guests, both returning. We have John and Jimmy. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Having a great day. That's what I like to hear, man. What about you, Jimmy?
Doing pretty good, thank you.
Oh, right on. You guys ready to give some E3 thoughts here in a little bit?
Yeah, we'll give some thoughts.
Yeah, we'll give some thoughts. Jimmy here, he's the real winner.
Yeah,
because
Jimmy won.
Yeah, Jimmy won because he didn't go through and set through all these presentations like me, John, and Zach did. He got to watch all the highlight reel and saved a lot of his time. And I imagine there's a lot of people out there that probably feel the same way. All right, so first and foremost, if you could go follow us at Twitter at LH Gamers Podcast, we greatly appreciate that. The Pokemon 25th and Zelda 35th specials are on the way here in the near future. And you can also go follow us at Twitter at Animan Podcast. And we also have an Instagram now for Animan, where I've just been doing shit posting here recently. It's the exact same handle at Animan Podcast. Go follow us there as well. And then lastly, if you want to support us through the Patreon's a great way to do so. Don't feel obligated though, but if you got a few extra dollars you want to throw our way, we would appreciate that 100%. But just listening to the show is enough for us. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we can call it good there. All right, so let's jump into some quick news here, and then we'll kind of follow up, and we'll talk a lot about what we got going on in the gaming industry right now. So some quick news we have. First and foremost, Microsoft is changing their Xbox Series game cases to help prevent confusion, which makes perfect sense because it's not like they did anything to the game cases before. It literally look at the Xbox One cases with just a sticker on the front of the case. So now there is an actual new game case for Xbox Series X. Congratulations to them for doing what they should have done in the beginning. Microsoft's also looking at their Xbox Cloud Gaming to bring some newer titles from that we have currently coming out to the Xbox One, which is kind of an interesting thing because I know this is something that we were seeing with Nintendo with the Guardians of the Galaxy. That being a cloud-only version, so that game can come to the Switch, which otherwise would not be able to. Which, let's be honest, so like in terms of what Microsoft's doing here, a great example is the Flight Simulator. They're wanting to get that down to Xbox One, which of course normally the Flight Simulator would by no means work.
What? I feel like you could do Flight Simulator on Xbox One. I mean, yeah, it would probably suffer a bit. It wouldn't look as stylized and polished, but I still think you could get it on Xbox One.
It would be rough.
It would look like Microsoft 98 Flight Simulator, which was perfectly fine and fun.
If you say so. I would by no means hit that up.
Yeah, it probably looked fine and fun in '98.
I mean, I messed with it in like 06.
As Jimmy said a few weeks ago, I'm just gonna wait for the juicy goodness, on the newer consoles or
And
something.
play Ace Attorney.
My man.
I hate you. I hate you too. I hate both of you. Oh man. So next little piece of news we have, which this one's kind of interesting, good talking point here for Jim Baroni, is we have Alan Wake Remastered was spotted on the Epic Game Store database, as well as Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is interesting that it's going to be going to the Epic Game Store. Both these spotted on there. Jimmy, you're a big Alan Wake fan. How are you feeling towards the potential of a remaster coming?
I mean, I'd definitely play it. I mean, I was actually just playing Alan Wake on Game Pass
really?
last week. So,
Oh, really?
and it's old.
Yeah.
it feels old.
Right.
So, a remaster would be good. It's still a great game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fun fact, I still have your Alan Wake and I've never touched it.
it's a shame.
Yeah, you pawned it off on me a long time
it's a
ago.
real shame.
And I've never played
That
it.
is a shame. I agree with Jimmy. The game is fun itself. I probably won't personally mess with the remastered, but it is a fun series or game series, yeah.
I don't know.
Quick side note: what is Alan Wake?
So you're a journalist who's slowly going insane, and you fight creatures of the dark with a flashlight.
Sure.
John's just like, I'm in.
It's fun. It sounds. I don't know. It's really good. Remedy makes good shit.
I mean, they do. And I mean,
Control was fantastic. I mean,
it does control
Control
fantastic.
was fucking phenomenal.
And the thing about it is also, at the time it came in, and even still now, is still very much a unique in its style and just its story and overall how it flows and everything.
Yeah, combat's fun. It's just a fun game. Awesome setting. I don't know. I can't. I mean, yeah, I'd recommend it to anybody that hasn't played it. Yes,
get it.
Absolutely play the damn game.
Okay. Well, with the remaster coming out, I may finally check it out, and I'll let you know how I like it.
You should. You won't.
I
but
wouldn't
you
trust
should.
his statement.
Whoa.
He
Whoa.
won't.
Whoa. Come on.
We know you, Alex.
Come
We've
on.
been sitting on that fucking. How many years has it been? 8?
Okay, well, for majority of that, first off, it has not been 8 years since you've given me that, first off. And second off,
Maybe.
no, hold on. And second off, I've stopped playing my Xbox a long time ago. I just plugged it back up not long ago and had to do like 2 years worth of updates on the thing.
Yeah, but
Alan Wake.
At the same time, you haven't played Alan Wake in the entire time you've had it. How many times have you played Mass Effect?
Okay, that's uncalled for, man. We don't have to talk about that, okay?
Hey, Alex, remember when you were texting me and said 4 people on a podcast would be great?
Hey, I'll be honest, if this show is not the best one we've had, I'm gonna be really disappointed. And when I say best, I could mean that in a lot of different ways.
There's going to be a lot of antagonism.
That's fine. Let's have a good time. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to have a good time. Something else that recently got kind of leaked out there is Castlevania Advanced Collection was rated, I believe, over in Australia, which that is a game that has not been announced. So potentially a collection coming out for Castlevania. I know fans of that's going to be really pumped up. Quick little follow-up on the Madden 22 cover, which I did give a little plug for that last episode. It was Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, which was what everyone speculated was to be. And we actually have a schedule of when EA is going to be showing stuff off for the game. Here on 6/21, which by the time this podcast is out, would have already passed, is going to show off what we can expect out of franchise, which is obviously what everyone's wanting to see right now because of how the same it's been for 5 years, and they finally promised to do something with it. 6/28, you get to see some dynamic game day. 7/5, you get to see face of the franchise and what all changes they have of that. 7/12, Superstar Knockout in the Yard. 7/19, EA Play Spotlight, and then the 26th of July, you get to see everyone's ratings, which is always a fun time to see the videos afterwards of how everyone's reacting to it. But mostly just looking forward to seeing the franchise breakdown, which we will follow up on the next Lighthearted Gamers episode. So we did finally get some sort of release window for Pokemon Unite, the Pokemon MOBA that was announced last year and has more or less been radio silence ever since. It is coming out to Switch in July, and then it's coming out from mobile in September. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I know it's like, as Nick joked about once upon a time here on the show, baby's first MOBA, which I agree. It's going to be a very casual MOBA.
See,
I do agree to that, but I still think it looks fun personally.
I watched that trailer and all I could think is, I don't know what the gameplay is, because it suddenly went from them going down lanes and then fighting jungle Pokemon to they're suddenly throwing a glowing ball in hoops. So I was like, is it MOBA basketball?
Yeah, there's the objective to it as well as just your normal MOBA type of play style, because as you're defeating enemies out in the map and defeating your opponents and stuff, that's when certain Pokemon will continue to evolve, because there are some that will start off at their first form, like let's say the Kanto starters, for example, and they can evolve up to like War Turtle and Blastoise. So, and then there's the objective of actually getting like you're saying, like the basketball, slamming it in, which will further add points to the board.
Yeah, no, I just want to run down lane to destroy stuff. I don't want to have to actually dunk on the opponent's base.
It sounds a little strange. I mean, I'll give it a try.
It's free to start, so
strange.
it's
Free to start?
Yeah, that's how they've labeled it. It's free to start.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah, we'll see about this now. I
Hey.
don't know what that means.
Hey, John, your Absol's in the game, man. You're good to go, dude. Me and you both. We're good to go.
All right, I'm back.
Yep, he's back in it. He's back in it. Yeah, Absol's playable one. I got Lucario for me. Garchomp's playable, which is pretty cool. Talonflame, the Kanto stars, of course, Greninja. The roster looks pretty solid, honestly, and just looking forward to seeing them add more over time. But I'm excited to try it. I don't think it's gonna blow anything out of the water, but it'll still be fun.
It looked troll as shit. I saw Mr. Mime literally wall in an entire team like an ass hat.
Yeah. It almost looked like a Tassadar wall, just kind of walling them off and just beating the shit out of them. So, I'm looking forward to playing. It looks like fun. It looks like it'll be at least an entertaining experience at the very least. Still talking about Nintendo here. Nintendo does have a title for Breath of the Wild 2 set, which we assumed they would, but they just didn't reveal it simply because they were very adamant that if we told you the title, it would be very clear what's happening in the game, which for the most part is what the titles do. They tell you, they give you indication of what's going to transpire, like Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, etc. But what they're saying is the title will very clearly indicate where things are going.
Zelda Cataclysm.
And they're trying to keep that a secret. Why? Nobody's going to play the fucking game before knowing the title anyway, so the difference between then and now, unless they just plan on saying fuck it and changing the whole narrative.
They just want to keep it. They just want to keep it a mystery for people to experience the game. Like it's a
I was
little
about to
bit closer.
say odds are it's just wanting to keep as little detail about the game out currently till I guess closer to release.
Yeah, the longer they hold on to it, the more people are going to want it.
Yeah.
So it's like they can hold on to that, and then when they drop it, people.
You're not wrong.
It's Legend of Zelda, so people will get excited.
Still shitty.
Yeah.
It's just like literally anything Elder Scrolls related.
That's true.
Just literally throw old Elder Scrolls at it. You was like, what is it? What is it? What is it?
Skyrim.
Yeah, that is true.
It is absolutely fucking Skyrim.
All right, so last little bit of news here, and it's tough to really dive into this because one, we'll find out literally the day this episode goes up, so I don't want to take up a lot of time for it, but I do want to point this out to people with what has been going on and how much of a meme this is. So Silent Hill, a lot of people love Silent Hill franchise, right? A lot of people would love to see a new game come back, and we've got this new PS5 game on the way called Abandon, and it's supposed to be coming out later this year, and now thanks to one single tweet has set the internet on fire that Abandon is actually a new Silent Hill by Kojima. And there's a lot of facts behind it that kind of backs it up for a lot of different ways. The game reveal should be on the 22nd, which is the day this episode comes out. I may actually post this episode a day early just so we can kind of hit that beforehand. So Blue Box Studios, this company that's making Abandon, it all started with them putting out a single tweet where they were just like, they've said before Abandon is not the official title. And they're just like, Abandon equals, first letter S, last letter L, and that set the internet on fire from there. Then they even put up a follow-up tweet where it's just like, hey guys, it's not Silent Hill, we're not working with Konami, we're not working with Kojima, we apologize for that. But then everyone's just like, all right, hold on, we don't buy this shit still, because for people that don't know, Kojima, he's done this sort of bullshit before, to reveal a new game. Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is an example where he literally created an entire fake game studio, an entire fake development team with names and everything, logos, whatever, just to mess with people.
Yeah, no, Jimmy,
throw people off.
That's the shit Kojima does.
Yeah, and then comes out later. It's like, oh, by the way, yeah, this is actually just Metal Gear Solid. Here you go. It was me all along. It was actually me, Dio. Well, that's basically what this is.
I mean, they I want to say fucking like 2 years ago, they were actively talking about Kojima working on a Silent Hill that got fucking shit canned.
Yeah, it was
abandoned.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, yeah, PT, the whole thing before Kojima was released from Konami, which the only thing about this, I mean, all of it adds up in theory of just crap Kojima's done before. Mm-hmm. My only thing is Kojima and Konami sort of left on bad terms, so I'm really surprised if he is working with Konami again, or Konami's wanting to work with Kojima. I mean, if they are, cool.
And I would say if there's money to be made, but Kojima don't need money.
Yeah, Kojima's not fucked up about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the only odd thing about this to me, but who knows? There may have been some sort of deal that was like, okay, we'll work on this thing one more time for people and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I mean, like the little tidbits of just information that all points to that's what this is just ridiculous. Like if you look up Blue Box Studios, the one and only game they've ever created that's on their record. I don't even think you can find the game. Obviously, it was called like The Whisper or something, another horror game, and like the logo has like like a blood printed hand, and if you look at it, it's literally the same hand that's on the logo of like Death Stranding, for example. The creator of Blue Box, Game Studios, I don't remember his name, but I did see some people where after multiple translation from one language to another, it like one of the names does end up translating down to, his first name. And then also this creator is his initials are H and K. And then there's just so much more evidence behind this, that this is actually just Kojima messing with everyone, including like Kojima. He put up on Instagram a while back a picture of like, I guess it was like a script or whatever of his new game that he is working on. Like there was like a little shot of like a forest, and it's like the exact same shot that's from the abandoned trailer that we got to see like a month or two ago. Like Kojima's just messing with everyone. Like just the jig's up, man. Like
it would be fantastic though if he just threw a fucking tantrum, if everybody solved his riddle and he's just like, fuck it, we're not making the game.
Yeah, right.
We're done.
Yeah.
See, the bigger thing would be if people are just going on a ghost hunt after getting the Silent Hill, because as Alex said, it was just a single tweet that caused it.
Yep.
And people are just going on a ghost hunt now, and Blue Box is just like, well, here's abandoned, and it's not Silent Hill.
See, that's the other thing. If this is all actually just bullshit, dude, Abandoned's gonna tank. I feel like it's gonna get backlash because everyone thought that this was Silent Hill the entire time.
I hope not, especially not if it's a decent game. That would just.
I did see also a little extra tidbit on this, that I did see the official Konami shop Twitter. They teased yesterday about new merch on the way, and I did actually see the thing for the new merch. It's Silent Hill merch. That they did put up. That was actually just a few hours ago from when we started recording. I mean, there's so much evidence pointing. I didn't go back and rewatch the trailer, but I did see a shot from the abandoned trailer where it's just like a sign that says like pointing towards like it's either like God's town or God's country or something like that, which people then further said that that relates to Silent Hill in some capacity. I've never played Silent Hill games. I cannot confirm nor deny that. But that is something that I also saw, like it's Silent Hill. Like I'm sure like our friend, like I know our other friend Zach, I know he's gonna be super pumped. I know he's a big Silent Hill fan. So I mean, hey, I guess we'll find out when it comes out here in just a couple days.
If any major franchises do for a something new, it's Silent Hill. I mean, it's been a long fucking time.
I mean, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, man.
I mean,
hey, we got the third one.
Did we?
Yeah, it's on the Switch. Black Order, I think is what it's called, right? Because you have it, right, Don?
Technically, yes.
Technically.
Well, okay, never mind. I rarely mess with my Switch, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's out
now.
I
definitely didn't know.
I didn't have a whole lot of fun with it when I first picked it up.
Oh,
Maybe
that sucks.
And I've meant to go back to it, but then I haven't used my Switch a lot.
Now I see Zach going to potentially trying it out, right?
No.
No. Well, never mind. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about E3 stuff now. All right. So first and foremost, let's talk about Everwild. You know, this is a new RPG that is on the way from Rare over at Microsoft. We got the reveal for it last year during the Xbox Series showcase, whatever. And looked like a beautiful game, something to be really excited for, and it was something that we were hoping to possibly see this E3. Saw nothing about it, no mention of it or anything. Apparently, the word is that the reason why it was not at E3 is because it got primed forward, meaning that apparently the game got completely rebooted. And now they're looking for a 2024 release. There was a lot of different issues with the direction of the game that made it difficult to keep the game entertaining, basically. Like, I know one of the most notable things that I saw that some devs kind of put out there that made it really tough was a mandate from the previous director of where no combat in the game, 0 combat. And apparently with how the game went, that made it very challenging and had them to jump a lot of hurdles. That director is no longer with the game. There's a new director taking over it who happens to be Rare's most senior creative. And like I said, now it's aiming for that 2024 release and probably a completely different direction than what we've had. So, it essentially got what Metroid Prime 4 happened to it, where it got 2 years in development and completely restarted from scratch. So that's ultimately why we didn't see Everwild, which is disappointing because that is a title that is on my radar that I want to play. But maybe a year or two from now, probably 2 years, we may get to actually see something more on the game. I don't know. You guys have thoughts on that? Because Everwild, it looked really cool when they showed it off. So it's really disappointing that this has happened. I really hope it just doesn't get canceled. You know, I know canceling games. We talked about that, Jimmy. You mentioned that when you were on. It doesn't happen often anymore. It really doesn't. But it still does. I hope the game doesn't get canceled. What are you guys' thoughts on Everwild being completely rebooted?
I mean, I'm glad it did because it just seems odd to hear it. A game that's supposed to be coming out as an RPG without any form of combat, I'm being marketed that way because the only game I can think of like that I know of that's come out within the past year or so is Disco Elysium, and that was more or less advertised as more of like a big old narrative game rather than an RPG, because it's a whole narrative game where you use your character's skills and whatnot to progress through the story. And it's entirely narrative based and dialogue and encounter interactions just based off the skills and talking. There's no actual combat in the game, but it's very good.
Phoenix, right, yo? You get bonus points for being a sassy bitch.
You don't get extra points for being a sassy bitch.
Not in that. I'm saying in Everwild.
Yeah.
I had never heard of Everwild until so
that's disappointing.
Jimmy, you're killing me.
I had nothing to be excited about. But again, like we talked about last time, I'm not about getting fucking excited about something 2 years from now.
Right.
I could be fucking dead in 2 years. I'm not worried that far fucking in the future.
Jesus Christ. What about you, John? How are you feeling towards this?
I don't know, because at the same time of trying to see or figure out what an RPG with no combat would be, it could be interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it's getting redone a little bit, change it up some, because I don't know, it just while that idea could work, it'd be very difficult to make it work where the vast majority of people are actually going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that was the big thing, man, is they couldn't keep it where it was entertaining.
I feel like since they've already chosen and announced to reboot it, they're starting from scratch. I think it would be really cool for them to show what they had. If you were going for that, if you had an RPG that you were going for without combat, obviously you had some ideas out there. Show us what you had. Let's see what it was. If people reacted to it, whatever. If not, then you'd be like, oh yeah, that was a good fucking idea that you restarted that. Because
see, there are cases like that where I would really love that, because like Prime 4 is an example. I would love to see what was so terrible about Prime 4 from Bandai Namco that caused them to restart it. Like it's something that we'll never see, but I'm so curious about. And it's the same thing with a previous canceled title that was meant for the Xbox One. That we saw some gameplay, we saw trailers and stuff, but I would love to have seen like what made it get canceled. You guys may or may not remember. You remember Scalebound? That was supposed to be like a big AAA title.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be one of the release. Then it died.
Yep.
It was the game where you're gonna have a big old dragon as your buddy.
Yep.
And go beat the crap across the world with it.
Mm-hmm. It looked cool. I mean,
it looked good.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, why did it get canceled? I'm curious. But I'm with you. I would love to see the what they had that made it where it's just like, okay, we need to completely restart this. And I'm sure with this and even like Prime 4, there are some aspects they could probably keep, especially in Everwild's case, because it's not like it's moving development companies. It's still staying within Rare, probably the same dev team, just new creative direction. Meanwhile, in Prime 4's case, literally, apparently Bandai Namco just screwed the pooch, and then that's when Retro Studios, who had done the previous 3 Primes, had to step in and get the OGs back in there. So I don't know. It's one of those things that's really curious about, like what like what you're saying. What was so bad about it? I'm just, I don't know. We'll never get to see it, but it'd be nice.
They wouldn't release that.
Well,
But
the problem with that is if they did show the footage, then there'd be a large outcry from people to release that.
Yeah.
And then they might end up doing it, and then no one would buy it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah. That is very true. That is very true. So during the E3 week, we did get an interview with Todd Howard from Bethesda talking about Starfield, and reading this interview, seeing some of the screenshots that was being put out, like the video, like extra trailers and stuff being put out afterwards, just further got me more and more excited for Starfield. Like, it's one of those things that I wasn't like overly excited for it. I was just curious. I was, it's one of those things that I knew realistically I was probably going to pick it up, but it's not like I didn't really have any hype until the interview. So basically, here's some things that Todd Howard talked about when it came to Starfield. Is we'll obviously not surprising here. We'll get to see gameplay closer to launch. It will go back and forth between first and third person, similar to basically everything else they've done before. Mm-hmm. Alien races are confirmed. Hundreds of hours of gameplay, which. I know, Jimmy, you've gone on about that before, but in a game like this, from Bethesda, it's, to be expected kind of thing. They've kind of considered like a NASA punk is how it was labeled. It's grittier, more retro style sci-fi.
What is NASA punk?
See, I don't know. That's how Todd Howard described it, was NASA punk.
I mean, I can only assume it's a bunch of NASA rocket scientists dressed up with fucking chains and leathers.
Right.
Like, what is NASA punk?
I guess we'll find out more as more comes out. You do get to obviously kind of choose your background about where you kind of came from and everything. He did quote say that it's the most hardcore RPG that they've ever done, which he did actually further say in the actual presentation that this is a game they've wanted to do for a long time but never had the hardware to do it until now. The game will focus on a player of as a member of the Constellation, the last group of space explorers heading off into the cosmos. The structure of the game is kind of like Skyrim, where you're going to get to basically be who you want to be. There's different factions you can join, and you can really just kind of create your own path. And as for the release date, we did get the 11/11. He did say they are confident in the release date, or they never would have given it. Besides, if they weren't 100% confident, they would just given a year. But they are very confident in the release date that we have going on. But what are you guys' thoughts on what Todd Howard talked about when it comes to Starfield? Does because before it's still just like we really don't know anything about it. That was always our thing about Starfield, is we didn't know what it was. And with some of the shots that we got to see out of we got to see some examples of characters that were created, which looked super dope. We got to see some other areas that getting to be explored, again, looks super dope. And it further just kind of to me drives what I said I thought it was going to be, where it's going to be kind of like a No Man's Sky, but a little bit smaller scale. That's kind of how I viewed it. What are you guys' thoughts on the stuff Todd Howard talked about?
I mean, I feel at this point that you're just going to make your character get on a spaceship and fly. It's just going to land in the middle of freaking Whiterun. And that's where you are now. It's Skyrim again.
No.
He bamboozled us all back to Skyrim, ladies and gentlemen.
That's genius.
No, I don't know why I just thought of this, but now all I can think about is some of the great Bethesda ragdolls in space. They got some of the best ragdoll characters in the business.
I mean,
And
sure.
seeing those guys flop around in space is gonna be great.
Zero gravity.
Yeah.
I mean, on a more serious note, though, but I mean, it's hopeful. I mean, that's their standard synergy with Elder Scrolls, Fallout. If we exclude Fallout's 1 through Tactics, I mean, open world RPG has been sort of their thing of just being, hey, this is your beginning portion. There's things out there. Go find it.
Have fun.
Yeah, as long as it's like, it sounds like it's gonna follow the same structure. I mean, as long as it looks good and it feels good to play, I mean, I'll be there.
Yeah, I fully intend to get it day one. You know, because like I said, everything that he talked about in the interview, it's what ultimately sold me to get actually excited for this game finally. Because now, up until now, it's just like, okay, yeah, cool. Looking forward to seeing more. You know, it's Bethesda. Kind of trust them. You know, past few years have been kind of so-so. You know, looking forward to it. But I mean, everything about it, man, it kind of really sold me on it. Where it's just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'll be there for it. Overall, I'm pumped for it. Looks like a good time. Let's continue to talk about E3 here with you guys on the show, John and Jimmy. Kind of give your thoughts. Yeah, John, we'll start with you, man. What was some big takeaways from E3 that got you really pumped up? Had a few days to digest on it. Maybe kind of no longer ride a high. I know E3 was lackluster. I think we can all agree to that. It was very apparent that studios were still struggling from this COVID year that pushed a lot of titles back. That was very clear by people not really having a whole lot to showcase. But was there anything that really jumped out at you?
Something that I didn't expect to come away from this E3 with was from the Microsoft conference, I might actually get into Sea of Thieves now.
Oh, really?
See, I thought the same thing.
I came out watching that and I went, they've done enough updates. I have a few friends that I know play it and have been trying to get me into it. This actually looks like something that if I get into it now and actually play it, that looks like something that'll be a lot of fun to do.
See, whenever I saw that trailer of the whole Pirates of the Caribbean story arc thing, is all it made me think of was like GTA Online Heist. Heist really brought people back into GTA Online with just the story-driven aspect. I think this is sort of what Sea of Thieves has been missing. Yeah, people have been having their own fun with the community stuff and just messing with people and then the random encounters you can trigger and things like that. But
yeah, that's kind of where I came from, because as soon as I realized that's what it was, when I read into it a little more, I was like, this looks like something I could actually get into. It's like, yeah, I could have fun just sailing around with some people doing whatever it is we do in that game.
yeah.
But that was what brought me where I was like, this is what's finally sold me.
Right on, man. Sea of Thieves is one that I've always wanted to get into, but I've never stopped to actually try. And I'm with you. Seeing everything that they kind of showcased, it kind of it motivated me a little bit to like, okay, maybe it is finally time for me to look into this game, because it's a game that I've always wanted to like look into and try to play like since before release. Just never have for one reason or another. At release was because it was a disaster of a release for the most part, at least from everything that I saw online, and from a couple friends that played it. But, everything that they showcased with that, I thought I'm with you, looked pretty dope and kind of maybe pushed me to maybe want to look to finally try to get into it. Especially it'd be nice to just, have some friends to play with. It's always a good time. John, what was your thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy game that got revealed from Square?
It looks fairly interesting. One of the things, because I watched I didn't watch the entire, 20-minute gameplay thing they did on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a majority of their show.
I didn't watch the entirety of the gameplay, but I did watch kind of the beginnings of it where they were showing off some of the combat and that.
Right.
Which I thought was, it looks nice. My only thing with it was it seemed like a lot of
Micromanagement.
and
Yeah.
it seemed like almost the majority of all of the damage that was happening was from the micromanagement of telling the other members of the Guardians to actually do their special abilities.
See, I agree with that because I actually rewatched that the other day, and I was looking at him just going like, this looks really neat, but the character you're playing is not doing jack.
Yeah, it was the very first combat encounter when he started actually firing at the creatures. I looked at it's like I saw the health bar and I went, that's not a lot of damage. And then as soon as he hit an ability, the bar goes down by like a quarter.
Yeah, so I mean that was sort of a downside, and I mean it does say that everything pretty much in that's subject to change, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm hoping that they kind of reverse it a little bit, where your player actually does at least moderate damage, and the abilities are kind of like the big hitters that come in, or like the interruptions that can happen.
Yeah, your
and like
CC.
and like the controlling the battlefield kind of. That would be a more preferable style for me.
Yeah, that would feel much better accomplished, because just watching it, if I was playing that and just watching your teammates destroying Star-Lord not doing crap, that's not very satisfying.
Yeah, because then it's more of a
It's RTS at that point.
Yeah, it is.
It's just commanding your troops while you try not to get hit.
Yeah.
Right. Jimmy, what about you, man? I know when you were on, you had talked about, the Avengers game and how, with the approach they took for that, zero interest from the get-go. What about the approach with how they've taken, Guardians of the Galaxy, where it is straight single player? Almost kind of feels like a tidbit of like Mass Effect vibes in terms of like how your decisions actually matter, and just things along those lines. What's your thoughts on this Guardians game? You got any serious thoughts on it? It's something you might look into?
Probably at some point. I mean, for me, I don't know. I have to be in the mood, like, I guess not necessarily for the genre, but for like that specific story, I guess. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't really, I mean, I loved both of the movies. I love all the Marvel shit, but like, I don't know. It's weird. I'm in a weird place with all that shit. So it's like that type of game, yes, would be fun. I would try it, play it, whatever. But I guess right now I'm just not in a Guardians of the Galaxy fucking mood. Like, I'm really enjoying Loki. I enjoy that. But as far as that, I don't know. It's kind of like with the Star Wars Fallen Order. Like, normally
I still need to pick that back up.
Normally I'd be all over a game like that. I'd be like, holy shit. But I'm just like, after, that abomination of episode 9, I'm just like, I don't really give a fuck about Jedi or fucking anything Star Wars. So,
Yeah,
So-
Fallen Order is one that I only put probably about 2 or 3 hours into, and I had to not touch it since. And it's something I plan to actually pick back up here soon because the PS5 upgrade's out. So I wanted to play it on that now because that's been one of my goals, is to go back and finish completing some PS4 games that I bought and never done, and that is the last one I have left that I need to go back and finish up. Did you guys, John, Zach, did you guys play Fallen Order at all? Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Is it overall a good time?
It's a very good game.
Okay.
And everything. It's very fun. The only downside I had was it gives you a choice to go to 2 planets early on the game, and one's much higher level than the other, and I didn't know that.
Oh.
So I went to the higher level area only to find out it's a dead end until you get a skill, but you get a dual lightsaber.
Oh, okay.
No, I never ended up picking it up.
Okay.
It's one I looked at from the outside and went,
Right.
I mean, it looks cool. It looks like it could be fun, but wasn't for me at the time.
Gotcha. That's basically how it's been for me since I've had it. Well, Jimmy, what about, was there any big titles that came out at E3 that kind of really caught your eye, got you a little bit excited for stuff?
I mean, I get excited about just about everything.
Oh, okay, fair.
Not until it's like, again, closer. Like,
Right.
If it's like way far off. I mean, the only thing that I like actually am uncontrollably excited for is, of course, fucking Elden Ring. Like, I know that that's like the number one thing everybody likes. Blah, 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 blah. But I fucking love Dark Souls. I've played all those games at least 5 times through. Like, I love that series. More of in that vein, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's a different thing. It's fucking Dark Souls. It's gonna be Dark Souls with extra shit,
Right.
mounts and yada yada yada, jumping, all that jazz. But
Praise the sun.
so it looks very, I mean,
Overall, you were impressed with the gameplay trailer.
it's just, it's gonna be a good game.
Yes.
Like, From Software doesn't do garbage. I've never played a bad game from them. Sekiro was fucking, face smashingly infuriating, but it's still a good game, But so that was probably the only one that I'm just like, I really can't wait for that to come out. But everything else is just kind of like, pump the brakes. Don't get too excited about it because
Fair, fair.
especially with like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing,
Right?
You know how that's going to tie into the overall story of their characters and everything else.
Well,
yada, yada, yada.
that's a separate
So,
story.
like a completely one-off.
Yes.
thing.
This is this is an original
maybe,
story.
and I guess maybe that's part of why it. Like, I don't know, with the way that their movies played into the overall story of the
The MCU.
The cinematic universe and everything. It's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, they're interesting characters, they're cool or whatever, but like, I don't know. I guess for that game, because there are so many, shoot them and attack them and use abilities and fucking shit. It's like a dime a dozen for those type of games. Unless there's like some narrative interest in there, like
That's ultimately what interests me about it more than
that
anything.
would be the only thing that would draw me to it.
Because like I mentioned, it gives me some Mass Effect vibes in terms of like just the narrative direction and where your decisions actually matter, and the decisions that you get to make will kind of impact. And what we'll have to continue to find out is how much it'll impact the story itself. But it was already very clear from the trailer alone that it'll at least impact on how the Guardians view you. Because there was an example of in the trailer of where they had already made the decision to sell off Rocket, and then at the last minute, you as Star-Lord you change your mind and you say no, let's sell off Groot instead. So how does the Guardians retaliate? Is they say, oh well, you can push that cage yourself. I'm not helping you, and they walked off, and you're left to kind of So that's the sort of dynamic that interests me is is what possible like branching storylines we can possibly get. So that's ultimately what draws me into it. What do you guys think on the potential? That's the key word here because we got very little shown to us, just a very brief trailer. But what do you guys think of the potential of that new Avatar game that was announced by Ubisoft? What do the front was it called Frontiers of Pandora, I believe. What are you guys' thoughts on the potential of that game?
I'm a sucker for eye candy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I personally that came, or it's like when that trailer started playing, I went, oh, it's Avatar, and then I just kind of sat there. There was.
I mean, that's a fair reaction.
There was zero interest in it for me. If it ends up being if it comes out or they come out with more information about it and it looks like it could be interesting, I personally, it's just been a long time since Avatar for me, and I've that interest is mostly gone.
See, I feel the same as John. I mean, they left it as their big closer, and it happened, and I went, I mean, we got a theatrical cinematic trailer. We didn't actually see any gameplay. Maybe once gameplay comes out, I might be a bit more interested, but until then,
I'm excited for the potential. That's what it comes down to now, obviously, because it is still just very early in announcement, and we didn't get to really see a whole lot of out of it. I'm excited for the potential because I mean that is obviously a very beautiful world, and if the game is done correctly, and honestly, they'll probably copy paste the formula they already have from Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. That's probably what they'll do, which I don't think will necessarily be a terrible thing for Avatar universe. I mean, it could make the game potentially very lengthy, as I know you've gone on about, Jimmy, with Assassin's Creed. But I mean, I think there's a lot of potential there. And talking about Assassin's Creed, Jimmy, I got to say, I thought about you when we were talking about all the stuff with Ubisoft because, you were just like, man, I'm 167 hours into Odyssey and I'm not even 2/3 done. And, there are people online talking about how they're 200 hours into Valhalla and only like halfway done. You got Valhalla DLC on the way. So I immediately thought of you. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. Jimmy, this is further putting it in the grave where I don't know if Jimmy's going to play Valhalla.
I may not. I
mean, there's already one DLC out and their second one's coming out.
Yep.
And then they have the whole walk around following the people and be a history buff.
Yep.
Yeah, I made it like 40 hours or something into Valhalla. Didn't finish off the first section of the map that I was in, and I'm like, God, how much longer do I have in here? It's like it was one of those that I like set it down for a week to play something else that came out, and then just never went back to it. Might do it eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Now here's a question that I'm very excited to hear some thoughts on. This is more directed definitely to John, I would say. John, what was your thoughts on Halo Infinite? How are you feeling towards it? Because me personally, I'm very happy to say that I'm actually really excited for a Halo game for the first time in a long time.
Okay, they made the game look a lot better than whatever they previously showed.
True.
but they're also doing a lot of weird stuff. Like their trailers that they were showing off, part of it was, or it's like it jumped between like cinematic stuff and gameplay. Because there were moments where like they throw a bomb or something over towards where the sword spawns, which blows up, launches a sword off. They catch it in the middle of the air and then jump at somebody, and cut them through. Which,
Yep.
if that's supposed to be part of the gameplay mechanics, that's just gonna be a nightmare. Because if being able to like toss a grenade and will actually like launch weapon spawns or like weapons that are on the ground or something and send them off, that's just going to be confusing. But it could be interesting too if it works out, because it's like, for as much of a pain in the ass as that's going to be when you attempt to do that one time out of 100 where it works, you're going to feel like a badass.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, that was my biggest takeaway, which I mentioned from
Yep.
3 with Halo, was the fact that they're trying to add physics into Halo multiplayer, which will be, as John says, slightly nightmarish, but if people manage to figure it out, it'll look very awesome.
It will look very awesome, and it's going to feel awesome while doing it.
The other thing that I was wondering is, because they very clearly show off grapple hook multiple times, grappling fusion coils, grappling vehicles. What I was thinking with that is that just an equipment item that you have? Is it going to be like they're adding somewhat of classes to the game or something like that?
Right, or is it going to be a default thing?
Or is this something that everyone is going to have? And as a point to that, can you only grapple certain objects? Because if I'm running along a map and I want to get up to that second level that's up there, can I just grapple up there?
I would assume so.
Because that's the thing is it going to be you can grapple anything at any point, or there's specific things or points that you can grapple would be the alternative, which would be a little worse than being able to grapple anything. But if you can grapple kind of anything at any time, that's going to be cool. That
is going to be cool. I think it's definitely going to add a new layer to Halo that's just going to make it feel, it's just going to make it feel more, more entertaining, more fluid and everything. I mean, overall, like, obviously they didn't show much in terms of what to really get out of the story. We got a little gist out of it with our new, basically, Cortana 2, essentially. But the big focus on the multiplayer is what really got me. Because, I mean, I thought everything looked really cool. I thought it looked great. And then still them going with the free-to-play formula.
That's what I was about to say. Free-to-play, same-day multiplayer.
Yep.
I will actually, it's like that I'm down for.
Yep.
The story side of it, I mean, I may end up getting into it.
Right.
At the same time, but the multiplayer being its own standalone is a big sell there for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm fully planning to hit this up day one if I'm able to, because as of right now, I don't think my PC will run it for sure, but I know I could use an upgrade in a couple areas to really get it to where I want it to be. You know what I mean? That or just get a Series X, one of the two. But either way, I'm really excited for that. Jimmy, you're not a big Halo fan, right?
I mean, I enjoy Halo, but
You've dabbled in it. That's about it.
I haven't played it since 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, when is the release?
See, that's the thing, and that was a big negative note for Microsoft.
Yeah, they didn't give a date. They only gave us
Fall.
holidays. Or I thought it was holiday.
Holiday. Which, man, all that tells me is that they're still unsure if it's coming out this year. That's what that indicates to me.
I mean,
they pushed it back
to the drawing board after that last fiasco, and that was only 6 months ago.
I mean, last year before the release of the Series X, they pushed it back to this year. That was the first notch. But even before that, it went through, God, like what, 3 different game directors, 3 or 4 game directors. I mean, it's had a rough development cycle, and for it to be where it looks now, I mean, kudos to them for that. And pushing it back was clearly the right thing to do. And them putting up that holiday release with no actual hard date, obviously still indicates that they don't know if it's going to come out this fall, which also tells me they don't mind pushing it back again, because ultimately they don't want the game to flop, is what it's coming down to.
I don't know. It seems like, because, and I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier because, mush brain, but John mentioning the grappling,
right,
and, like freedom of using that just kind of however, made me think of the Battlefield. Like, obviously their whole thing, their whole shtick with the new Battlefield is just like freedom of combat.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the fuck you want to.
Yep.
So you can grapple if you fall off of something. Fuck it, wingsuit out or parachute, or if you're falling, just fucking grapple onto something. Just like do whatever the fuck you want to, because that does make combat. I would think it would make it more interesting,
Right.
Because if you do have specific points where you can grapple, I mean, everybody's gonna learn that shit day one and just fucking camp those spots, or just it's just gonna make it just a pain in the ass.
I mean, and that's always what's been a big seller of Battlefield games is just the ability of just destruction and level of freedom to use the environment, especially with the new one that's coming out with them adding the whole weather effects and just the trailers of actual Battlefield trailer of just everything you can do, just how big the map itself was, its transition from okay weather to disaster weather and everything.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned that I'm excited for Elden Ring, but also I haven't played Battlefield like really since 3. But I love that franchise, and I am super excited for the new Battlefield.
I got a question about Battlefield, the new Battlefield coming out that you guys might know a little more about. Because I remember I watched their like different modes presentation that they talked about. And they have like their big one, which is like the open war or whatever. And then they have the smaller scale ones. Do those all take place in the same kind of war area? Where it's like you're just on a smaller scale map inside of it or something?
I believe so. They didn't really say a whole lot about it.
That's what it sounded like, and I didn't want to be mistaken.
From what
on
it
that.
got from it, it seemed like you had your larger full scale maps that expand out more. Then there's probably a downscaled version of it.
Yeah,
In 5, that's exactly what it was. Like every map was just this specific. That was the map. It was a big open area, and then you just had multiple game modes that you would play in sections of that map. So if you were to play a small team thing, it would just take place on like between these two buildings on this one map. But if you were to play the big, huge big team thing, it would just include those two buildings and then a bunch more shit. So it was just
how cool that would be is if you're in the smaller game mode playing, but like if you could see some of the stuff going on, or at least
in
like
the larger scale
level,
battle,
what's kind of going on in the larger scale.
That'd be cool.
That would be really fucking cool.
Like say they can't destroy the building you're in because you're in that map playing it, but you could see all of the devastation and weather effects and everything happening. That would be amazing.
That'd be nifty, but I'm wondering how that would affect the server.
And I have no idea how they would implement that.
Yeah, even if it's not like a lifetime thing, but even if it's like, say, it's something that comes in 6 months after, where it's instead of like looking out and just seeing like a dust tornado or something going on over there, you see planes and shit flying around from what could be like the implementation of pre-recorded matches or something.
Gotcha.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
One thing, did we get an actual hard release date on Battlefield? I can't remember.
It's October. Yeah, it's.
I think
it was a date. It's in October.
Okay.
I think it's early to mid-October.
Okay. Honestly, I've never been big into Battlefield. I've tried a couple of them.
It's fun as fuck.
But everything they showed off with 2042 did look super cool. I'm not gonna lie.
This might be the first Battlefield that I actually try to get into.
Yeah, see, that's how I feel towards it as well.
See, my last one I played was Hardline.
See, I played a little bit of 5, like maybe for about a month and a half, and the last game I played before that, like actively, was 3.
See, Hardline was weird because that was the cops and robbers one.
Yeah.
So it played really weird. I mean, it was still Battlefield. It just felt weird because instead of soldiers, you had a bunch of police and crooks.
It's just I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a good
FPS.
I've always preferred it to Call of Duty.
Okay.
And I've played a lot of Call of Duty. Battlefield is just it's overall better. Just the recent games, they've made a lot of poor decisions on balancing. You know, the maps have kind of been shit. I don't know why. I still don't know why. I should probably do some reading into it. Why they got rid of Rush, which was like, the #1 game mode for all of it, until they just said, "Oh, fuck Rush. We're not gonna have this game mode anymore."
Well, I think they actually eventually did bring Rush back in 5.
I think it was only as like a, hey, we've got this mode temporarily. Hey, this week this mode is available. But it wasn't something that you could do every single.
You fix all those problems. You just play Apex Legends.
Did you guys have any takeaways from that game that closed out Xbox's show, Redfall, from the new game coming from Bethesda? Did you guys have any takeaways on that at all? Any real thoughts?
I have no memory of that.
Nor do I.
Oh, okay.
Fill us in. Give us a
So
rundown.
Me and Zach weren't really over the top about
with
it.
Alex, is when you mentioned it first, I didn't really remember it. Then when you talked about it, I slightly remember it. I think in any of the recordings of the conference, I don't think it made it in. I don't think it made it into the recordings. If you're watching it live, you saw Redfall, but anyone watching recordings missed it.
Oh, well, that would explain a lot.
That
So-
seems really bad for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so what it was is it looks like it's going to be a 4-person co-op shooter in a more or less apocalyptic world. Each of them have powers of some sort.
Yep.
Oh, that's some character designs right there.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
it
exactly
is.
Wait a minute. Is this the one that has something to do with vampires? Or
Yeah.
something?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
watched a very brief video
Okay.
about that. Okay. Yeah.
It's
The
made
name-
by
the name
Bethesda.
didn't click.
It's made by Bethesda, but the exact devs that made it was the ones that did Dishonored and Prey.
I don't know about those, but 4-player co-op, bad guys. It very, very much reminded me of fucking Left 4 Dead. In that video, there was like a tall, slender man looking bitch with claws. It was picking up one of the characters.
Well, that was a
Looked
vampire.
Like a special or whatever. And then there was another vampire biting some guy's neck. It looks like fucking Left 4 Dead with fucking vampires,
back
which is
off-
good. I mean,
back
that's
off.
good.
We have our Left 4 Dead clone.
Yeah,
It's Back for Blood.
Yeah, you got your Left 4 Dead.
That'll
I'm just
probably
saying,
pick
that's
up, yeah.
zombies. This is vampires. It's different.
No, it's both apocalyptic. I got my Back for Blood. It is made by people. Fuck off, Jimmy. But on another scale, I mean, Redfall looks fun if it's and it being done by Arcania Studio, I believe is their name. It means it's going to have some insane vertical gameplay with it. Because even like one of the characters' abilities, literally, they make a freaking spectral elevator that throws people up in the air. So their games are always very known for just their 3D and vertical combat of just how much they use the environment. It just makes me curious considering Deathloop is still coming out. That's also being done by them.
True.
Is that a PlayStation exclusive?
What, Deathloop?
Yeah.
No.
No, the one that you're probably thinking of that's PlayStation exclusive is Ghostwire Tokyo.
I definitely wasn't that because I have not heard of that shit.
No. Well, no, Ghostwire Tokyo is being like published by Bethesda, and it was already like in development under like I guess contract whatever for PlayStation before the purchase happened. And you know, Phil Spencer and Xbox did come out and say anything along those lines they're going to honor. So it's still set to be a PS5 exclusive, even though they are officially owned by Xbox. So that's why I immediately just threw that out there. But no, Redfall, I mean, it looks interesting. You know, I'm with the same thoughts that, you know, Zach, you and I had the other day when we talked about it, is that want to see more, you know, to come out of it. Let's hop over and talk about a little bit about Nintendo. I know, you know, really the only people that play Nintendo in here is going to be basically me and John. So these questions are more directed towards John. First question, John, did you get any excitement out of Metroid Dread? Or is that something you're going to pick up? Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to probably pick this up. I think it could be a lot of fun.
It looked interesting. I'm not the biggest Metroid fan.
Yeah, see, neither am I. I mean, the proms are fun, but
Yeah, I guess
Shoot. No one would believe that with how much you talk about Metroid and how it needs a game.
all right, shut up, Zach. John.
yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I guess with that, it kind of comes down to price point of the game.
That $60 price
yeah,
point.
for me, because personally, I don't know if the game looks enough for me to jump into it and try to give that extra shot to it for that price point, knowing it's probably not exactly my gameplay style.
Right. Well, what about Breath of the Wild 2? You know, you've yet to play Breath of the Wild.
I knew
First
he was
off,
gonna fucking say
yeah, you're damn right. I was.
I mean, John, for the longest time, you were the person I knew who for Zelda-related stuff, so...
Yeah.
That's because I play a lot of the games. I just don't play all the games.
Well, what was your takeaway on Breath of the Wild 2? How did you feel like, because we got to see a little bit of gameplay. We didn't get a whole lot. You know, they just gave it a little teaser. How you feeling towards it?
I mean, it looks interesting. I don't know too much about it, mostly because I don't know a whole lot about Breath of the Wild. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's one of those I don't know how much it's going to follow all of the gameplay, like the gameplay loop of Breath of the Wild, the first one. One of the things I was I saw a question posed earlier when I was just flipping through like articles and stuff. Was, do you think they're gonna bring back the breakable weapons?
Yeah, I in my opinion, yeah, I think they're gonna bring it back.
Because I don't know, it doesn't seem like that much of a pain, based off of the little Breath of the Wild stuff I've seen. But having not played it, I don't know how annoying that is.
It's very annoying early on. There's no doubt about that. that was a pain in the ass early in the game.
But yeah, as far as Breath of the Wild 2, I mean, it looks interesting. It's like the fact that they're going, because I know one of the things that I had wondered was, is it going to be kind of the same world? That how are they going to change it?
Yeah, that was my question too.
And the fact that they're going to the sky, it makes it fairly interesting.
Yep. Yeah, see that was my question leading into E3 is it going to be the exact same thing, or what are we going to get new about it? And when it comes to the Breath of the Wild 2, the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was the fact that they're still not sure if next year's the time range. Like,
oh yeah, no, they're
just aiming for it.
They're basically just saying, we're looking at this date, but at the same time, do not be surprised.
Yep. See, that's how I feel towards it. And, on top of that, I mentioned this in episode 45, is there's been a lot of reports, a lot of rumors recently about a Zelda collection that was going to come out to celebrate the 35th with like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, more than likely being what it was.
They shut that down quick.
Yeah, they did. They shut it down quick in this direct where they're just like, hey, look at this cool Game & Watch that we're going to release. This is how we're going to celebrate the 35th.
That threw me for a little
bit.
I was not expecting that.
And then they're just like, yeah, there's no unannounced titles planned for this year. So what that indicates to me is because Zelda's become like a Pokemon for Nintendo where they aim to have a title every single year of some sort. That is their goal for Zelda. So them not releasing the assumed collection that we believe is to be a thing is because they're keeping it in their back pocket for next year, just in case the Breath of the Wild 2 is not ready to go.
Yeah, because right now they're looking at like, well, here, get your little Game & Watch three game collection here, and then we'll let you know in the future.
Basically, which I got to say, with it having 3 games, that's more enticing for a pickup for collective purposes.
I might actually pick it up.
I'm planning to, personally, just for collective purposes. The Mario one, which you can still buy right now, at least around where we live, which is funny to me. It only had the 1 game on there, and it's just it doesn't feel like there's enough of a draw to want to jump up and get it. While the Game & Watch one, like you said, has 3. It gives it a little bit more, draw to it, and I'm with you. I'll probably pick it up. But so with the stuff that we got to see out of Breath of the Wild 2, what's your time frame? When are you going to play Breath of the Wild?
Why is he got to ask me that?
Well, I also want to point this out because it's a funny conversation I still have here. Is I know one of our listeners, good friend of ours, Jared. He is a diehard Breath of the Wild guy. We have fought tooth and nail, me and him, about what is the best Zelda. Fuck you, Jared. It's Twilight Princess. Suck my nut. So, him hearing that you have not even played it, he's going to be very distraught. So, yeah, when are you going to play it, man? What's your time?
When you play Alan Wake.
That's right, motherfucker.
Whoa!
I can't get into this fight. I've got too many games I haven't played.
I mean, yeah, me too.
And, I mean, he's got plenty of time if, Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't come out for another 2 fucking years anyway, because hype train.
Yeah,
oh,
true.
Switching subjects a little bit from Breath of the Wild, because I was thinking about this, because I haven't asked you about it yet.
Deflect.
No, not quite. We can go back to it if you want to.
No, we're good.
What'd you think about the Smash DLC character? Any interest at all?
Woo!
I knew you were going to be excited.
It's funny you mentioned that. For the first time in a year, I actually played Smash literally probably like 2 hours ago. I was just dicking off on it, trying to get back into it, whatever. I don't really have any like strong connection to the character. I played Tekken like on the PS2 and stuff, in that era. I don't have like an overly strong connection. The only takeaway I have from that, and I pointed out in 45, is of all characters that they could have let off with this trailer, it had to be Ganondorf, because they know what people want, and it's Zelda. That's my only takeaway from it, is that I thought that was an interesting, choice on Nintendo's part of them being cheeky little bastards, of just leading it off where all you see is Ganondorf being carried. You don't see the character. And I saw so many reaction videos from like YouTubers and stuff, and everyone had the same reaction that I did. Oh, they leading off Breath of the Wild 2? Oh, is this Breath of the Wild 2? And then he throws him in, and it's Smash.
See, I was the opposite. I saw Ganondorf getting carried, and I went, "Oh, Tekken character."
Definitely not me. I mean, he looks fun. As these fighting game characters do. Large move pool that you can actually use in game, similar to Ryu and Ken and Terry as well. So I mean, he looks like a fun character that I probably will not be able to master. That's for sure. I'm not a very good Smash player.
See, I stated in the last episode, I enjoyed that trailer with Kazuya and just the whole joke with the cliff.
Yep.
And I explained in the last episode why it was such a big joke. And just the entire time I saw him do it, I was like, God dang it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, final kind of wrap ups here. Any disappointments from E3, whether if it be something that was shown off, whether if it be something that wasn't shown off at all that you were maybe hoping for? Any disappointments from you guys? I mean, obviously,
God dang it.
Okay, well, yes. Obviously, E3 as a whole was a disappointment for the most part, but Microsoft and Nintendo, that's all we had really going on. That's the easy answer. But is there anything that really stuck out to you in terms of like disappointed with what you saw, or disappointed in something that you didn't see?
The entirety of the Gearbox showcase.
Yeah, the Gearbox showcase was that one was rough. They spent a lot of time on the movie and showed you nothing about the movie.
I walked away and came back like 10 minutes later, and he was still interviewing people about the movie.
See, John, I told Alex, I was like, as soon as I saw the University of Gearbox, I was like, they got nothing.
Yeah, they don't have anything to show.
I basically just walked away and I kept it up on the side, and I was like, maybe they'll show. I muted it and just left it up in case a trailer started playing. I was like, maybe something will come up.
I do actually want to ask you, John, because I know you've played the series, but what'd you think of Siege Quarantine?
It looks interesting. I don't know, because there's a fair amount of kind of these co-op style things coming out, and they all look pretty good.
Yeah, they do.
It's like Siege Quarantine could be interesting because it'll be nice to see kind of how the
attackers and defenders working together.
Yeah, I'm curious about how that's going to work with the different operators.
Yeah,
because that's going to make for some kind of weird groups of operators going in.
See, I absolutely loved the Outbreak event when it happened, and we first got our taste of this. So I've been waiting for Quarantine since they first announced it, just because I love this whole aspect of the attackers and defenders actually working together. And then I'm sort of curious about how the captured operators thing is going to work.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to be interesting to see.
I don't know a lot about Quarantine, but so is this essentially just taking Siege and expanding on it? Like the operators, obviously that's Siege.
Yes.
So is it going to be a lot of bleed over from that, or is this going to kind of be completely in a whole new, like they're starting from?
Well, it's going to be sort of its own thing because we had an event a couple years back called Outbreak, which with it released a like 3 or 4 levels co-op, 3-person co-op, where you could use specific operators on each mission, and you just more or less went through this like 3-part level of fighting these infected creatures and whatnot, and everything, and using and completing objectives. It was, people liked it so much that they made Outbreak, which is a Quarantine, which is a continuation of that. Pretty much the basis is the virus that had released an Outbreak got they didn't get all of it. Some of it got loosed down, and it's expanded in the major hot zones, and now they're fighting against it. And it has the current cast of operators that are available. It has not said whether it'll keep expanding the operators as with Siege, but yeah.
I mean, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that type of game, like John said, there's a lot of the co-op type of stuff coming out, and they do look very good. Even that Redfall, I mean, it has potential because
it does have potential.
they're
Yeah,
fun.
It sort of almost feels like we're going back to the couch co-op era.
It's interesting because we've almost fully circled around where it's like we've had a couple years where we had some good, like some of the best games and that to come out are the single player kind of story driven RPG style games.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like we've gone through the years of like, or we went through a couple years ago the big like battle royale time, which a lot of the games are still pretty big right now. And then now it is interesting to see now that we're kind of moving back to the co-op story based game kind of, or co-op level based fight off hordes.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about because those games are always fun.
Hey, it's always fun to get some more games to play with friends, right?
Speaking of which, we gonna mess with Dark Alliance?
I'm playing it on Tuesday.
No comment. Let me know how it is.
I'm picking it up on Tuesday. I know I've got at least one other person picking it up.
Dungeons and Dragons, Jimmy.
Oh,
Yeah, and then maybe I think one of my other friends is gonna pick it up too.
like legit D&D? Like this isn't a game. This is like
It's a game.
the tabletop game.
It's a video game.
It's a video
a
game.
video game. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, John, I may join you.
Yeah,
So
I know I've probably got two people picking it up. I know I'm picking it up. I've been excited for this since I first saw the announcement.
yeah.
Yeah, let me know how it is. Let me know how it is. Then the next thing that I'm probably picking up is probably just Rift Apart. I've seen nothing but great things about Rift Apart. I have yet to see anything negative.
Don't care. Can't play it. Shut up.
That's mean.
That is mean. Well, Jimmy, I know your answer more than likely, but was there anything at E3 that disappointed you that was shown or was not shown?
No.
I thought that was your answer.
I mean, not really. There's definitely no disappointment. I mean,
Right.
And there was no, because there isn't anything that I'm like.
Well, you also
Super
didn't have to
looking
watch
for-
the whole show, so
Yeah.
I think you're saved in that capacity.
My disappointment mostly came from like sitting there
Yeah.
waiting like 2 hours for the conferences to come on, and then nothing happening for the 45 minutes to an hour and a half that they were on for.
And honestly, every time that those, I mean, again, that's why they were saying E3's fucking dead, because for years it's been like that. All those shows are just.
Well,
a
I
bunch of-
wouldn't say that.
Oh no, 2019.
2019 was
2019 was good.
2019 was incredible.
Yeah, 'cause I know 2019. Like, I was living with you then still, and
Yep.
we were. It's like we were all watching it in different rooms and came running out during specific
Yep,
conferences
yep.
and times.
Yep. No, see, when it came to this conference being shit, I said it last episode, and I'm going to continue to say it. It was very apparent that studios are just still very clearly struggling from the COVID year of work being pushed back, people having to work from home, which delayed a lot of stuff across the gaming industry, and that was very apparent.
Yeah, this year was mostly the year of we are still doing this, but in the meantime, here's something
Yep.
else to look at, or here's what we've got so far.
Yep.
Or they just didn't show anything because they're like, we didn't get enough done this year for it to really be shown.
Exactly. So that's why me personally, I'm not going to use this year as a grading scale to say if E3 is dead or not. I feel like E3 2021 gets a pass because ultimately it was very apparent that there were a lot of studios that were still very behind. Now, if 2022 sucks ass, different story. Different conversation completely. If 2022, assuming that it happens and goes down as planned, if that eats big booty, then there's a problem. E3
I
could
don't know,
potentially be out the door.
They got if they mess up 2022 with like some of the big games that are
Yep.
still in the works
Yep.
that they can show off next year, man, they don't fuck something up.
Yeah.
See, John, it's funny you said that. You said that we don't have things. Here's something else. Then all I can think about is the Outer World 2 trailer.
There was nothing.
I mean, and he very obviously called it out.
Yeah,
just
he
like,
did. He's like, I don't have anything.
But this silhouette. Oh, you know what time it is? It's time to pan out.
It's like, hey, they at least have a title.
Yes.
Outer Worlds 2.
Again, that's a way that you can make something fun, even if you don't have a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's going to make or
it's like-
break it, because you talked about the Gearbox thing. Wasn't there a fucking thing where the fucking dude did like magic tricks for like an hour or some bullshit? Nobody wants to see that goddamn garbage.
That was. I think that was the. I know he did something like that for the Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Reveal.
Yeah, I
It was
remember
where
that.
He brought people up on stage and like had them play like a card game and did magic
Yeah.
tricks with them and shit.
Yeah, it's like just like fucking
So
ridiculous. Like, what the
stupid.
fuck are you here
Gearbox
for?
is weird.
Yeah, no, Devolver Digital.
Devolver Digital is weird, yeah. There's no doubt about that one, man. Well, I can't think of anything else. I've been trying to rack my brain of all like the bigger titles this whole time. Do you guys have it? Do you guys have anything
Mario
else?
Party Superstars.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say anything about that.
That's true.
Because you were the one like really hammering wanting a Mario Party to be.
I was
announced or
hard
something.
predicting
And
that this was a thing.
like, you were really going on it, and then it's like it got announced. I haven't heard a word from you. About
That's true. That's true.
No, the only thing it's like I was kind of expecting at least some sort of like Fire Emblem news.
Yeah, I was too.
I was expecting at least a mention of anything coming. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me, but
That was a surprise and a disappointment. I from everything that I saw, it seemed pretty hard set that we were going to get something Fire Emblem. So that was disappointing.
I mean, Three Houses was the last game, right?
Yep.
And that was by far and away like the most like well received.
Yeah, well received, sold.
Game
Yep.
they've ever done.
yeah,
I mean, maybe they're just maybe they had something that they were working on next, but they were just like, holy shit, this fucking is like out fucking going bananas. Maybe we should.
that's why I was at least expecting some sort of like porting of an old game or a remaster or something like that.
I
But
mean,
no news. Kind of, I was a little shocked by that when it all finished. And I was like, oh, there's nothing there.
Yeah, and when it comes to Fire Emblem stuff, I've mentioned it before, and I'm still gonna keep throwing it out into the universe, and we'll see if it ends up being true. With how well Three Houses was received, I'm still gonna throw it out there that the next mainline Fire Emblem game could actually be a sequel to Three Houses instead of something new. I know that'd be tough with how they wanted to handle it because of the 4 different storylines that Three Houses has.
Yeah, but I mean, same with any of the other
Yep.
like Choices Matter games. If you want to do a sequel or you want to do any sort of like continuation of that story, whether it be a comic, another game, anything like that, they'll just have to pick their canon ending.
Yeah. They'll have to pick the canon ending or somehow work it out where all 4 endings work somehow. I don't know, I mean, it's not like that's not, new for games. It might be newer for Nintendo, for them kind of branching off into that kind of, territory. But it's either a canon ending or, do a different storyline. I mean, they did different storylines as it is, but the one thing that made it easy is that all the storylines, the first half is the same, for all 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's that second half of the game where it differs. So that made it really easy.
You get that middle portion where it's like choice made now,
Yep.
game change at this point.
Yep, exactly. But no, I'm with you. Kind of disappointed on no Fire Emblem being there. That was something I was kind of looking forward to. Also, of anything here, of any possibilities that we've seen, I'm really shocked we saw nothing involving Donkey Kong. Because this is the 40th anniversary. There's been the reports of the 2D, 3D game that's currently being developed by the team that made Super Mario Odyssey, whatever. And I wasn't anticipating to see that at this E3, but just as something to be where it's just like, hey, it's the 40th anniversary. I was honestly just expecting Donkey Kong 40. Like they did with Super Mario, 35, like the Tetris game, whatever. That's what I was expecting. So I was shocked we didn't even get that.
Oh man, we'll get a direct here in a couple months or something, and you get your little game and watch Donkey Kong.
Hell yeah, they're really about if they do that, they're really about those Game & Watches, man. They're really about pushing that, but
probably cheap to make.
yes, they're probably very cheap to make.
It's not actually Mr. Game & Watch. It's Rob Donkey Kong
Oh my God,
holding a barrel.
Jesus Christ,
40 years.
40 years. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
That's one old monkey.
that is one old monkey. We're on like what, the 3rd version of him, because it's like like DK Jr. or whatever is Donkey Kong's dad, I believe, right? I think that's what it was.
Don't get me lying. I don't know.
Because Cranky Kong is like the OG. Okay, Cranky Kong's the OG, and then Donkey Kong Jr., who first appeared in one of the one of the earlier games, and as well as Mario Tennis 64. That's Cranky Kong's son, who's the father of the Donkey Kong that we know. I believe that's how it goes.
Oh man, we gonna go golfing.
The golf game does look
We gonna
actually
go golfing.
It does actually look pretty fun.
Oh, I'll probably pick it up. Looks fun as fuck.
I mean, I'd play it.
Yeah, it comes out here in a few days.
It looks dumb as shit, but I'll play it.
Time to actually, you saying that, John? The speed golfing. Now that I think of it, it just makes me think of any of time we go play fling golf. That's literally
true.
how we play fling golf.
That's
we throw
true.
That crap and we run and we fling again.
That's true.
If you in the way, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah. If anyone's never played fling golf, look into fling golf. It's a lot of fun.
It is incredibly fun
Yes. Yes.
for as simple and stupid as it is.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. You boys have anything you guys want to throw out there? Last little tidbit thoughts on E3, just general thoughts, anything like that?
No, I've said most of my spiel on our other episodes, so.
Okay.
I can't think of anything right now, but if anything pops up next time I'm on, I'll just shoehorn it in.
Okay. What about
That's
you?
exactly the same thing for me. I'll think of 5 things as soon as the podcast
I guess
ends.
one last thing I thought of, Jimmy, is how do you feel about a possible Resident Evil 8 DLC?
Oh, yeah. Featuring on Tall Lady.
God damn it.
Again, as soon as they showed that, I immediately thought of you.
I'll fucking play it. But I'm not like excited for it. I mean, it'll be what it fucking is.
Man, I'm not kidding. When they showed that off, the first things that went through my head was whenever you were talking about Resident Evil 8 and everything, and your exact words were just like, "Yeah, I don't think they realized how popular she was going to be." And then it's like when everyone was freaking out about it, they were just like, "Oh shit, this bitch is only in the first half of the game." That is immediately what I thought of, and I'm just like, they're just like, okay, this is their way to redeem themselves with Tall Lady here. But Zach, you got anything for us to finish off the show here, man?
Just my usual spill. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows if you're listening to this. If you are watching this on YouTube, and if you like anything that's going on, you can hit that subscribe. And then if you actually want to get a notification when we do stuff, you can hit the bell. If not, thanks for watching, though.
Appreciate you. What about you boys? Got any last words?
I have no words. I look forward to being on again.
There you go. There you go.
Jimmy's got the itch.
He's got the itch, man. We gave him the itch.
Just good to be back on. Thanks for having me. Be back whenever you need me.
Absolutely, man. I love having both you guys on, and I really enjoyed having the 4 people on. I thought this was a lot of fun. We definitely have to try to do this again here in the near future. Well, if you guys made it all the way in, like Zach said, we appreciate the hell out of you for that. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully, as I said before, hopefully you had some stuff come out of E3 that you can look at and take away from and get excited for. And, hey, I know we got, I've been seeing a lot of reports. We should have a state of play here right around the corner for PlayStation, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But that's going to do it from us, guys. Have a good one. Until next time.
Bye.